Lift your forehead with your hands. He felt a little fly in his head. This toy, I can only use science to explain it. The soldiers calmly said, God himself likes dice. That's how the world turned out. It's not unintended. If you say from theory, mutants can reach the final level of class. It's in the legend of level 6. Rank mutant Omega. This level only exists in theory. Never appeared in the era. It's just someone talking through it. It's a kind of infinite space of growth. Unlimited power, the highest of mutants. To that level, surely in the sense of God. Cuckoo. I'm talking about the coalition suddenly putting one hand on the table. Her hands covered her mouth with a loud cough. The movement is so great that even the table is swinging hard. The nurse saw this scene. He quietly left his chair half a step back. Captain, are you okay? Do you want me to give you a hand to call a doctor? Khan's army stopped for a long time. He let go of his hand. There's a little blood in the corner of the mouth. He wiped it calmly. This ghost did not escape Zhang Yi's sharp eyes. The soldiers calmly said, it doesn't have to be just an old disease. I saw Zhang Yi's strange eyes. The military continued. We don't have Nan's disease. We don't have long to live. He spoke too calmly. It's like judging a body that doesn't matter. If not for this, we don't need to be proactive to deal with such a nuisance. The movement in the air. It's exactly what he thought. Now this old man CA are experiencing a serious health problem. However, whether his illness was natural or not, or as a result of a disability, or him, like the others at the Tay Sun base, it's actually mutants created by technology, so that the body has serious shortcomings. There's a lot of doubt in Zhang's heart. However, he did not ask directly, because that's definitely the secret of the Jiangnan Great Zone. He can only use comforting language. Now medicine has advanced to this level. Even cancer can be cured. There's not a disease that can't be cured. Their doctor, I'm in charge of the First People's Hospital. Tianhai City, let her examine your body a little bit. It might work. The military looked at Zhang Yi quietly. After he finished speaking, then he just opened his mouth and said, you don't have to probe me. I am a dying person. This time I came here hoping before I die, can contribute more to the Jiangnan Great Region. In exchange after I die, my wife and children may have a better life. When he finished, he just said, just took off the sunglasses he always wears on his eyes. His face was strangely pale, but his pupils are whiter. It's a kind of gray-white disease. You can't see the pupils. A kind of quiet gray, filled with all eyes. It's my ability. It's based on sacrificing vision and health to pay the price. That's why, at SAO, it can only be ranked as Delta level. If you give me a little more time, we can't really level up and become Fklon. Its deadly flaw makes us superhuman. Killer with limited number of uses. Do you understand? Zhang Yi confirmed the speculations in my heart. The power of the military. It causes great damage to the body. It will even consume his life. Sigh in silence for a moment. Rao is like that. but we don't think about. You'll definitely bring your abilities. Tell me. There was not much expression on his face. He spoke in a calm and cold voice. Next in the zombie face-off activities. In Tianhai City, we need your cooperation. So it's important to understand each other's capabilities. This is also for you to know. Our power can't be used indefinitely. It's going to speed up our mortality. Nod your head. He also understands that the military has one thing left unsaid. As a dispatcher from the Jiangnan Great Regions team, he's not worried either. They will take advantage of their abilities to deal with him. The first, Trong Yi did not dare to be an enemy to the Jiangnan Great Region. Second, he's not afraid of death. In the current state, he said he was wearing sunglasses again. Then follow up. Now I'm almost a blind man. It's all based on this visual aid. To see everything. Now I see you as a vague figure. It's emitting pink light. Nod your head. Two armed border guards' hands on the table. He once again brought up the subject he had talked about earlier. Are you interested or not? Go to Jiangnam for a try. Your power is very potential. In the future, can go on to become clone-level mutants. The small city of Tianhai, you can only limit your progress. The movement is not too interested at the invitation of the military. He laughed and replied that people Don T have a bad heart. Even less want to be successful. Creating a career. I just want to survive in the end. With the people next to me. Then wait for the world to restart. In the heart of Trong Yi thought, go to Jiangnam with you. It's like going out on a mission every day. I want to fight for life and death. I don't want to be free either. Then go find something for yourself. The border force said. Don't be in a hurry to refuse. The snowstorm has good living conditions, much more than where you are. In the blizzard of the city, people can live as they did before the end of the world. There's a city with a street and a busy night market. Listen to this. The fluid in my head shows a picture. It's a thriving city. It's covered in steel and cement walls. On the street, small stands continuously. Many people are happy to go shopping. Parents with small hands. Couples laughing at each other. And the snowflakes are constantly creating air. Like Christmas. There was a moment. The movement is really desirable to see such a scene again. Wu constantly gave evidence about the good life of the neighborhood. Jiangnam. There is also a comfortable apartment. These things, you are in the city of heaven. No matter what you do, you can't experience it. Trong Yi also just laughed at the Wu border troops. Look out the window. There's a quiet snow field. He was silent for a moment and asked the military. Is there anywhere you can hide as comfortably as ours? The military is more convincing. The new campaign is even more distrustful. The end has come. If Jiangnam is in the central region, it's really embraced a lot of people. The snowstorm is like that. It is not able to remain relatively high. How circumstances survive. The large bases also have comfortable living conditions. Pleasant, but only for a small number of users. Zhanjing is not interested. The border guard said. Tianhai City is not a safe area. It's right on the East Sea coast. If the ice melts later, this place may be flooded first. There may also be an enemy coming from the opposite side of the sea. Only the central highlands are the safest. Have you thought about moving there? The police officer said, "This makes Zhangji frown. Temporarily become quiet." And DTO, he probably doesn't care about the human factor. But we can't help but fear nature. Ice Age was born under the influence of cosmic shock. Maybe one day, to some planet, will restore normal temperature. And then the city of Tianhai was on the coast, maybe covered in seawater. But that's still for later. In general, who knows what will happen? Coming out after such a long time. The last glacier lasted for 10,000,005 years. Trong Yu answered with a frown. Who knows what will happen later? We'll talk about it when it comes. The military saw Zhang Yi. There's a little emotional conflict. Just smirking. And we're not going to keep talking about this. The most important thing now is to solve the zombie threat in the city of Tianhai. He just needs to plant a seed in Zhang Yi's heart. When the time is right, maybe the epidemic will decide to go to Jiangnan Great Region. Even though he didn't have much time to live. It's quite difficult to find a good living county at the Delta level. If after he died, this living grain can fill a gap in the investigation team, there's nothing better. Next, you're talking about zombie-related issues. The movement doesn't hold anything back in front of the military. All sorts of zombie-related intelligence. And the big mouse says rah. The army finished a glass of hot water. Then slowly stand up. We've said everything we need to say. There's nothing to bother with anymore. If necessary, I will contact you. He turned and headed for the door. Stand up and follow. Or we can have a meal together. I've been here. The military is a little worried about some people asking to stay, even though they're a big fan of where the foot is hiding. But it's not so much that it's too small. Obviously, they also have good conditions in the snowstorm. Though SAO, they're all very capable people at a very high level. The armed forces refused. We don't need to eat rice. We've brought our salaries. Besides, we've got work to do next. You two go to the living room. The space here is very quiet. The investigation team and everyone in the shelter. There's nothing to communicate. The air is even a little stiff. I saw you two coming out of the small room. Two groups of people also seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. The military told his team, "We've had enough rest, so let's go." Some of the team, without hesitation, take your tea in your hand and stand up. Thank you for the afternoon. As the champion approaches the campaign, his eyes showed a clear will to fight. Translation, if next time, the two of us should talk a little bit. Border Force Review High Translation. It caught the attention of the enemy. More according to the idea of the Vu border. Zhang Yi, you can become a member of their squad. In the future. Natural enemies want to consider a little about Zhang's ability. Trong Yi just laughed and did not answer. The military called him. Now is not the time. Don't bother people anymore. The enemy laughed and scratched his head. Then go out in groups. And people watched them leave. Border Patrol and his team get in the car. The car leaves its hiding place. People in the shelter just started talking. These people on people, they're actually carrying a very heavy weapon. Yes, just look from a distance. They're not like people at all that we've met before. Take a deep breath and tell yourself. Fortunately, they are not the enemy. Otherwise, our problems will be bigger. Of these 7 people, the power of the military does not have to be said. The kind of awesome power he has, no one can compare in the whole Tianhai city. Even Zhang Yi. If you are in a situation where there is no preparation, he will also be killed. If you let him prepare, according to his current defense, he can also completely resist attack of the armed forces. Right now, Yang Xin, Han's clear and cold voice, echoed in Zhang's hands. Only 7 people came here, solving the zombie problem. Maybe it's not as easy as we think. This is not good news either. Everyone heard the words of Yang Xin, not from, look at this super smart girl. He looked at her and asked her carefully, do you have any opinion? Yang Han, wheelchair operator, go in front of everyone. Her clear and cold eyes, emitting intelligent light. The police sent them here. Not sure to believe that they can kill zombies in one go. Maybe they're just pioneers. Once we figure out the root cause of zombies, there may be a large military force to take over the city of Tianhai. Then the entire structure of the Tianhai city will be improved. We will inevitably be affected. The translation chapter nods 1. It's entirely possible. From Fat Worry said then, can we get kicked out of the shelter? Zhang Yi in Tianhai city. It can be said to dominate one side, occupied Taisan and Jiang Highway, because his opponent is not strong. At most, it's just an army stationed in the city of Tianhai. But the actual power of the Jiangnan Great Region, it's not a small amount. Except for weapons. They've got a lot of big weapons. It is also possible to destroy the hiding place. More in terms of soldiers and mutants. Jiangnam Great Zone, completely beyond the great powers, in Tianhai City. Hedgehog epidemic. It certainly won't be. His words were a little hesitant. Yang Han said again, if so, it's not really the worst outcome. The worst outcome, that's when the investigation team found out zombies are too big. And they want to clean up the zombie problem. But it costs too much. At that point, the problem can become a problem. People's hearts can't help but beat. I don't know what's under the surface of the city. How many zombies are there? If all the dead became zombies, it's a scale of tens of thousands. Until then, Jiangnan Great Zone will handle Tianhai City. You don't have to tell me how. He remembered the words of the army. He suddenly understood Ra. That's what Ra is. The army invited me to the Snow City. This is saving us a way back. Everybody in the living room, hold your arm there thinking. If you can solve the zombie problem right away, there's nothing better. It is very easy to say, but how to deal with it? The little girl said softly with worry. Now we all know that zombies and rats are all on the ground. Their numbers are terrible. Could have taken over the entire train system. Underground of Tianhai City. With our current forces, dealing with zombies and normal mice is impossible. Unless we find the king and take action minus the root. Zhu Kai just said, just gently put your hand on your chest. Lean on him. In an emergency, She likes to find solace in the translation. There's nothing we can do about this. I can only hope South Africa will provide assistance. So, you don't have to worry too much about the flu, either. However, our ability is limited. Zhu Kai Ni's words are not wrong. 5 great forces in extreme Korean circumstances. It's impossible to organize a large-scale operation to investigate. Whether it's Zhang Yi or others, they're just temporary people. Make a team of 5 in the end. No one has experience handling a dire situation like this. Zhang Yi raised his head and spoke slowly. All fear comes from not knowing. Our most annoying thing is, we know so little about zombies. What is the last king? Is it a mutant zombie that generates intelligence? Or some mutant? We don't even know what a king is. This is a subtractive action. The word fat comes in now. We can now only guess that. Risk of zombie outbreak. It has nothing to do with the other 4. Even though they have suffered heavy damage. Yang Han immediately countered. We can't say that for sure. Even though they've all suffered 7 major. Nor can we conclude that. This has absolutely nothing to do with them. Such as Tae Sun Base. They used to, has done a lot of human experiments. It is hard to avoid. Other people have the same behavior. This makes zombies appear. After the end of the world, the great powers of the Tianhai city. They're all crazy to strengthen its armed forces. Almost all measures can be used. They have all been used. Artificial man plan of Tae Sun Base. Military stimulant drugs of the Yangtze base. They're all clear examples. Everyone says their opinion. But it's basically all guesswork. There's no evidence. Their intelligence is too little. Zombies appear suddenly. It's a completely new force. They don't have time to react. Hold tight to hands. I don't know what to do with the zombies. Who controls all zombies from behind? Who is it? If that person is an artist, want to control zombies? To destroy the other major forces in the city. Thien Hai became the king of Thien Hai City. Even expand outward. It's with human intelligence. They've broken through the defenses of the great powers long ago. But the zombies that Zhang Yi and his team met, it shows no high intelligence. Like a child 4. The 5-year-old is constantly learning. But if the king is a mutant corpse, born of wisdom, why is it attacking the 5 great powers? It's like knowing for a long time that there are 5 powerful human organizations at 5 very distant locations in the city of Tianhai. After a while of analysis, Zhang Yi told everyone, let's wait and see. At least have a look. Representative of Jiangnan Great Region. How many talents? They have more combat experience. Our team. Strong mutants. And also the advanced technology of Jiangnan Great Zone. They can achieve some results. Hold the hand of Chu Kai Ni. Temporary planning. If at that time they can't solve the problem, we will take action. At the headquarters of the Snow Church. When Zheng Yat first returned, he pushed the door and entered. You're not standing still as before. Stand in front of the statue and pray. You can't stand 3 meters behind her. You don't slowly open your eyes. Then turn around and face Zheng Yat Sen. She looked at Zheng Yat first. The rare eye shows tenderness. What did you see this time? Zheng Yat first replied seriously. Jiangnam Great Zone sent a very scary group of people here. Especially their captain. He told me everything he saw today. In raw, not fake. I can't believe the power of the investigation team. Especially in the military. You can kill thousands of zombies with one blow. Her icy face also showed a heartfelt expression. She muttered, Jiangnam Great Zone. Do they have any influence on us? Zhang Yat-sen is also not sure. He said the current state of the Tianhai city. It's had a huge impact on the surrounding environment. If the Jiangnam Great Region sends soldiers to participate, afraid that the future of snow will not be good. Moreover, the army warned us. It's if the zombie problem can't be solved. Maybe Jiangnan, the state, will take the final measure. You don't ask anxiously. The final measure. Zhang Yat first firmly said, we can't just sit back and watch the situation unfold. You don't nod. We're just afraid of this problem. It's not just that we want this. Red pepper exercise. Nu Yen Din high and the sky. I don't want to see that happen. It's just as the original fake said. When the border guards warned. And then in their hearts, they're all very worried. That's why they also chose to support the Wu army. To solve the zombie problem immediately. Because the full support of the armed forces and his group. They're actually helping themselves. We're talking about the armed forces. After leaving Zhang Yi's house, they don't stop moving to investigate information about the Songbi group. They're driving a black car. The space inside is huge. Everyone can be inside. To solve all the problems of eating and sleeping. This car, by the professional engineers of Jiangnan Great Zone, fabrication to make it easier for them to do outdoor tasks. For a long time. The first station. It's the second subway line. That Zhang Yi was attacked. People go to the entrance of the subway line. From a distance, you can see a long hill. Floating on the ground. A straight line like a dragon's head. Wu said strongly, it seems that after a large amount of seawater freezes, it caused the ground to crack. Ballerina, close your eyes. In his mind came a picture of the translation, from another dimension pouring down a huge amount of seawater. He couldn't help but take a deep breath. It's true that this guy is a genius. The enemy soared every time he heard the soldiers praise him. He fell in love and said, Leader, is it necessary to encourage him in this way? I think it's just a common trick. The enemy raised an arm and spoke to the soldiers. If our power is space, I also know we've got to use objects to block the top of this subway. But in fact, what he does, it's just like drinking poison to quench your thirst, temporarily solve the problem around me. He can't completely stop zombies. Is there any benefit? The deputy chief of police laughed and said, Corn enemies, your character is as arrogant as your name. The captain said so. There's definitely a reason for him. You should also learn how recognize the strengths of others. Don't always despise others. The enemy hedgehog 0. It's not that we can't see him. It's just a situation like this underground. If we were here, just by myself, we can kill all the zombies. The military is standing there. Listen to the confident enemy. He calmly asked you if you were so confident. The enemy replied confidently, of course. He understands his abilities, especially in a situation like this. The military is his forte. The military asked again, but do you know the power of the king? The enemy was a little surprised, then quickly replied, I've never met that monster. How do we know? From the information they got 10. They only know that there's a bunch of zombies in the background. About the king, even Zhang Yi and others. Never seen it either when entering the subway tunnel. It's about understanding its power. Ballerina calmly said, like Zhang Yi and his team, we've solved everything. Zombies in the subway. Under dangerous circumstances and without casualties. Don't be blind to talent. The most important thing is how to develop your own abilities. Zhang Yi's ability is not only on the combat side. It's about being able to use your mind to achieve this. That's the most amazing thing. Frontline armed with head. Look away and be silent for a moment. The enemy still has some recovery. He muttered even though he had a mind like. How to go? If you need more team, it must be a fake from the martial arts. We don't lack people who carry bags. The champion looks a little childish. The soldiers just laughed without any blame. The enemy always has that kind of personality. Everybody's used to it. Especially after the body of the frontier appears. Abnormal condition. The enemy's behavior became even more unusual. Everyone in the heart, we all know why champions do that. But it's not convenient to say rah. The military went into the car and said, let's go. Next, we'll go to the field. How a zombie siege is a sight. The driver was the deputy captain of the school's police department. He and his wife are 40 years old. But he doesn't look like a middle-aged man. On the contrary, there is a muscular body, majestic as a grizzly bear. The grown-up asked, Captain, where do we want to go? The armed forces replied to go ahead to the Yangtung base. The deputy chief bar completes the positioning. Then let the car run. Drive towards the Yangtze base. All 3 major bases are busy right now. According to the orders of the Vu border, they asked for a temporary, abandoning all structures on the ground, and transfer all non-combat personnel to a covert operation at the shelter. This method can ensure a reduction in casualties. Maybe it's because the number of people is decreasing. Zombies will have no targets to attack. All the leaders after their return, even though they all have a little bit of unwillingness, but they can only take it seriously. No one dared to oppose the will of the army. Represents the general area of Jiangnan at the moment. Soldiers and their vehicles to go near the Duong Thi base area. Find a high point to stop. It's about 5 kilometers from the Yangtze base. You can see the whole thing. Yang Huang base. By the soldiers sitting by the window. Put your hand on your sunglasses to see this place. Through the telescope. They're waiting for the zombies. At the Yangtze base. Red training can only be non-stop. Commander of combat personnel to prepare for defense. Around. One-sided arrangement for non-combat personnel. Retreat in order. She raised her voice and ordered everyone to be quick. Get out. Time slowly passes by. When the sky is dark, it's about to happen. Around the Yangtze base, the lights have been lit. Compared to zombies, it's possible to search for humans with the breath of the living. The more we need light to fight. Zombies from the night. It's like ants filling an entire area. Yang Huang base. Such a large space, they're all covered in zombies. In the investigation team's car, strong medicine expert Vu, it's heating food for people. There is enough food in the car. Just warm up a little and you can eat very conveniently. People eat junk. one side with a telescope looking at the night sky to enjoy the zombie siege. Vu gave part of the food to the border troops. Captain, eat. The armed forces asked explosives expert Kim, engineer Yip Kong, while he was observing the fighting through the telescope. IP Ki Kong holding a black laptop, heavy and thick in hand. It looks like a big brick. But even in cold conditions like this, it still works well. He looked at the computer and said, based on all the material that their team provided, each time zombies appear a limited number of. At its peak, there were only 10,000 zombies. Yi Chang show map of Tianjin City. On the computer screen, he zoomed in on the surrounding area. Yang Huang base. Next they can look down from a high angle. Observe the movement around you, covering every warrior and zombie. Even their own place is in sight. It is the most advanced satellite system of the United States. Functional nebula. IP the Kong just held the chopsticks and continued. The zombies in the subway are out. Obviously, the king can agree. The number of zombies is also limited. It turns bodies into zombies. The speed is not as fast as imagined. We can take advantage of zombie raids. Yang base launched an attack. You just have to be able to handle the king. The zombies will become disorderly. And the threat level will also be greatly reduced. The soldiers told everyone, get ready to fight. Based on Zhang's words, there must be a large amount of copper on the ground. There is the unknown power of the king. The enemy squeezed his fist. The sound of the guests. He laughed and said, the leader. This dead toy, what a threat it could pose to us. Don't say, Kai is. Now the ground is empty. Until then, you don't need to act. One person can take them all out. The police chief sighed. He looked at the hot-headed young enemy. Eyebrows furrowed. Enemy, Korn, this time we're not here to fight. Zombies kill more. If you let the king run away, it doesn't make any sense. Remember this point carefully. No need to mess with zombies outside the king. The enemy appeared on his stiff face. Hand scratched the loin. Sorry, I really forgot about this. After 10 minutes, they reached the subway entrance where zombies overflowed. There is no trace of zombies. They soon fled to the Yangtze base. Everybody get off the bus. He had a black handgun in his hand. It's a bit bizarre. The bigger the barrel, the longer it is. Black is non-reflective. The weapons of others are the same. It's also this strangely shaped gun. Even the police officer didn't use a gun. It's opening up a big trunk to carry. Take out 2 weapons from the inside. He builds weapons skillfully. It's turned into a 2-meter lance. Has a bizarre shape. It's a very long head, like a very large cone. This is a very rare type of lance. Was removed from the battlefield hundreds of years ago. Large body beyond the normal VI range. The weight is also very heavy. It can only be used when the cavalry is on active duty. Infantry using this weapon will be very difficult to maneuver. Like this big weapon. Even if it's padded, air damper or gas descendant puncture are very comprehensive. I'd say it's best suited for the strengthening system. Especially mutants who are extremely powerful. They went to the tunnel entrance in no hurry to continue. I walked to the front tunnel entrance, slowly squatting down. Her right hand is on her face. The snow says no. An invisible spiritual force along the entrance to the tunnel, towards the bottom looking for. This force goes along the wall. When you meet the branching mouth, it's divided into 2 sets. Then keep looking. You can see that a small fraction of zombies don't leave the tunnel. But there's also no strong personal reaction. 10 seconds later, the right hand tells everyone. There are still some zombies in the tunnel. It's like not discovering the existence of a particular individual. Wu's ability can only cover a range of 2 kilometers. According to theory, the king was still hiding in the depths of the tunnel. The military said guns. After saying it, he's got a gun on his right. And jump into the tunnel first. Everyone else, without hesitation, following him, jumped down. People are moving quickly along the tunnel. With the power of strong Wu, they can clearly assess the terrain, as well as the number of zombies and animals hiding. The head of the 5th team. The sporadic zombies they encounter along the way. They were all crushed by him using a school knight. As they continue forward about 5 kilometers, the bartender suddenly said he found it. There's a big group of zombies in front of you. Surely this is where they live. In her consciousness, she's seen a lot of zombies. The number is even more outside. And among these zombies, she also saw the fighting type, maybe compared to homozygous mutants. The army stopped and asked if they could find the king. Strong dance frown. Use the spirit of the search force in the zombie group. King SAO. There are a lot of zombies underground. It's very difficult to distinguish individuals. Force of arms instinctively looking for larger individuals. Stronger but except for the armor. No other zombies are particularly obvious. However, suddenly, she discovered a ring of unusual colors. You thought it was, she said, for the border. We only found 1 white monkey. I'll give you the white monkey. He didn't hesitate to say it. Let's collect 10 of them first. It is best to catch it alive. No one saw the king. This kind of existence, it's kind of cool for people. So it can take any shape. Even a normal zombie is hard to say. The armed forces can only judge that. The king definitely wants to lead the fight. So you can't be too far from the group. This point, from Zhang Yi's last underground journey, it has been proven. Although the king did not see the king. While moving forward, soldiers at the same time make combat plans. The enemy handles the zombies. Squirt, pay attention to the zombie group to see if there's any abnormal individuals. Inform me in time. Let the others be with me, in charge of arresting the king. Everyone shouted yes. Very quickly, based on the instructions of Wu, they went to a zombie colony. Zombie group discovered out. They immediately make a sound that scares people. The school laughed for an hour. Let's kill them again. Him and used the knight's lance in his hand. It's like a human tank car. Head straight for the zombies and rush in. In the blink of an eye, hundreds of zombies swept out. The blood smells like rain. Amputee hand broken. Immediately, the crowded exam group was beaten. School bar cleaning raw. A 10-meter long road. The enemy shoved his mouth into the vice captain's mouth. Your speed is too slow. Get out and see what we do. When he said, he was slowly raising his hands. In the dark, suddenly a bright ring appeared, hovering over his shoulder.